about to start in. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the report of the Collingwood Judicial Inquiry. It's being presented today by the Commissioner Associate Chief Justice Frank Morocco.
Good afternoon, everyone. In response to a request from the town of Collingwood, I was asked to conduct a judicial inquiry. I have completed the work that the town requested. The inquiry investigated the 50% share sale of the Collingwood Utility Services Corporation to PowerStream Incorporated, as well as the money allocation from the sale for recreational facilities at Central Park and Heritage Park. And finally, any fees and benefits paid to anyone. It was a significant task. Public inquiries are established to examine and report on public interest matters, to highlight any problems and other related issues. The task is to determine how and why a problem occurred and recommend how the town could prevent similar occurrences in the future. Of course, it is not possible to anticipate what may emerge during the course of the actual investigation. It is rather like a large puzzle where you may or may not have all the pieces, but where in any event you do not see in advance what the picture will turn out to be. Carrying out this task required an assessment of more than 440,000 documents. The inquiry had to interview prospective witnesses before calling them to testify. In addition to hearing what a witness had to offer, the inquiry critically examined what each witness was telling us. This critical examination produced more than 18,000 pages of transcript to review and analyze. 61 days of evidence presented by 57 witnesses. A public inquiry is a public investigation, and the Commissioner's report consists of findings of fact and statements of opinion. These findings of fact and statements of opinion are not findings of criminal or civil liability. A public inquiry is not a trial. However, because both the conduct of individuals and the events resulting from that conduct are closely examined, many public inquiries influence how governments will react in the future and how the persons who interact with governments will behave in the future. My report and recommendations are available online at our website, www.collingwoodinquiry.ca. I hope that my report will be helpful in the future to the town of Collingwood, and for that matter, to any other municipalities facing similar issues. Significant matters are addressed in my report. Unfair bidding practices, unfair procurement practices, conflicts of interest, inaccurate and misleading town council reports, the misuse and inappropriate disclosure of the town's confidential information, and a failure to respect the roles and responsibilities of council members and staff. In other words, behavior that left unaddressed undermines the foundational core and reputation of a municipal government. I have delivered my report and recommendations to the mayor and members of council, as I was asked to do. There are 306 recommendations in all. It is now up to the municipal leaders to consider how to react or act on my recommendations. My inquiry is complete. I will now turn matters over to my lead counsel, Ms. Kate McGran, to take your questions.
Yes, we'll take questions now from the media. We'll start first with Erica from CollingwoodToday.com. Erica, you have a question and a follow-up.
Yes, thank you. Kate, my question is there any sort of follow-up from the inquiry or any other governing body to see if any of these recommendations have been implemented?
Good afternoon, Erica, and thank you for your question. As Justice Morocco just explained, he has delivered his report, and so on that note, the work of the inquiry is complete. However, one of the 306 recommendations was that town council report back to the town in the year, within a year of today, on what steps they have taken in response to the report and more specifically the recommendations.
Erica, do you have a follow-up?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll take a question from Catherine. Catherine from 97.9 Max FM.
Hi, thank you very much. Some of the recommendations are to get in touch with the province to make changes to the Municipal Act. Is that something that the town of Collingwood has to do? What steps need to happen for that?
You're absolutely right. Some of the recommendations in the report are directed to the province of Ontario. That's not, the recommendations that you reference are not the kind of recommendations that the town can take action on. They are addressed properly to the province. They do come, however, out of the issues that the inquiry was asked to investigate. And so the province can review those recommendations and take whatever actions it sees fit in response.
Catherine,
The province will
go ahead, sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. The province will get a copy of these recommendations of this report?
The report is available to everybody on the Town of Collingwood Judicial Inquiry website.
Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Up next is Ian from Simcoe.com and Collingwood Connection.
Yes, and thanks. I wanted to follow up on Catherine's thread with regard to the recommendations to the province. There were some recommendations regarding the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. It really seemed to mirror what was discussed in Justice Cunningham's report. And I don't know whether the municipality has a role to play in trying to lobby the province to take a closer look at that. And like, Conflict of Interest Act hasn't been really changed since 1990. Is there a role for the municipality to try and lobby for changes in that provincial legislation that obviously hasn't been touched in almost 40 years, 30 years, I guess?
What I can speak to is the nature of the recommendations, which, as I've said, arose from the issues that the inquiry was asked to look into in the terms of reference. The recommendations flowed from those issues. You're absolutely right. This is not the first time that issues about the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act have arisen. The recommendations are exactly that. They are recommendations for consideration. What others may do with them is for them to decide, but they are available for everybody to review and think about.
I just want to follow up on another matter. During the hearing, there were discussions about, and I know people were, I guess they got notice of possible findings of misconduct, and I don't know, I haven't read through the whole report yet. Will there be findings of misconduct against certain individuals through this process?
I think that the best way to answer that question is to direct you to the report. And the findings are encapsulated very well there. There's an executive summary at the beginning of volume 1 that is, I believe, about 13 pages. To try to summarize the findings of the report any further, I think runs the risk of doing it an injustice.
Thank you, Ian. Up next, Kate. Kate from Aware News Network. Kate, go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon. My question is, what should other municipalities other than Collingwood take from this report? Many of the recommendations, code of conduct, procurement issues, etc., are directed, the language is directed specifically at Collingwood, but there are recommendations that many would like to see implemented across the province, for instance, a lobbyist registry, numerous other recommendations that you make. What should other municipalities take from this?
It would be the inquiry's hope that other municipalities would read the recommendations and find them applicable and helpful in the conduct of their respective business. The issues that were posed in the terms of reference to the inquiry touched on matters that are fundamental to good municipal governance. And so it's our hope that the recommendations will be found useful across the province.
Kate, do you have a follow-up?
No, thank you for that.
Thank you. Siobhan Morris, Siobhan from CTV Barrie.
Hi, Kate. I know that the Justice Morocco writes in his report that the processes that he was looking at have been stained. Can you talk about what is at the heart of that description?
I'm sorry, could you repeat your question?
Siobhan Morris.
Sure. Justice Morocco writes in his report that the processes around the sale of the utility and the construction of the recreation facilities have been stained. Can you talk about what is behind that descriptor of being stained?
So I think I'm going to turn to the answer that I provided earlier. I'm wary of trying to explain the report. I hope it is clearly written. Suggest turning first to the executive summary, but in terms of what the contents of the reports say, I think it speaks for itself. I think I'm going to turn to the answer that I provided earlier.
Okay. I know that there have been, of course, a lot of concerns around the escalating cost of the inquiry. Can you tell us now where things are at and whether there's any room for the government to help cover the cost of this final report?
So I don't have the final figures. I believe that the town may have that information. As for covering the costs, I think that's a question that others will have to answer. The terms of reference, however, did pose questions about two high dollar value transactions that the town was involved in, one in a highly regulated environment. They required a thorough investigation, which was conducted. As I've said already, they touched on matters that are foundational to good governance in municipalities across the province. So hopefully the report will be of wide use.
Okay, thank you. And Dave from CBC, do you have a question?
I have two questions. The report talks about the impact this whole affair has had on public confidence. What could you say about how public confidence has been affected by these two transactions?
I hate to repeat myself, but I'm going to once again turn you to the contents of the report, which provides all of the information that you're looking for. The fact that an inquiry was called is illustrative, I think, of the public's interest in the questions that were posed in the terms of reference. And the inquiry worked very hard to answer those questions.
Okay, as a follow-up, and I appreciate that is the answer that you gave on the previous inquiry about misconduct findings. But I'm in the very preliminary read of so many pages within an hour that I've been able to do. Is there a misconduct finding of any individual?
It's a question that I once again say is best answered by reviewing the report. And I understand that it's not short, but I will turn you once again to the executive summary as a starting point and say that any efforts on my part to summarize the facts and findings discussed there, and I think run the risk of losing some of the important context that's set out in the report itself.
Okay, thank you very much. That concludes our report. Thank you very much, media, and have a great day.
Today on A Taste of Georgian Bay, we're here in downtown Collingwood at the Old Red Hen restaurant. I'm quite sure that lots of people will recognize that name. This place has been here since 1945. Now, I don't know how many other restaurants have been around here that long, but let's go inside and see what Chef Jim's got cooked up for us. I'm sure it'll be good. Well, here we are inside. I'm here with Jim Meredith. How are you, Jim?
Very well.
Nice to see you again. Jim's owned this place for, what'd you say, 17 years?
17 years.
And this restaurant, this is the Old Red Hen where we are. This place has been around since when?
Since 1945.
1945. Now, that's a while ago, isn't it? For the same restaurant, same place.
Sure is.
1945. How long ago is that? That's 45, 50, 55. That's 70 years. 70 years, one restaurant. How many other restaurants do you know that are 70 years old, Jim?
You don't see many more.
Not many. I mean, a restaurant,
yeah.
They say if you make one, if you make 5, you make 10. You make 10, you're pretty well there. Well, I guess this place is here. So,
yes.
What kind of a place do we have here? Just
well, this is a family-type restaurant.
Family-style
That's
restaurant.
right. What it used to be, that's how it started in 1945.
1945.
By a Hungarian family.
Right.
Mother and father, and they had 7 daughters.
7 daughters.
What they all work here.
They all worked here.
Yes.
So they grew up here.
Yes.
Interesting labor pool.
It sure is.
So I guess you didn't have to pay too much, did he?
True.
7 daughters.
Yeah.
So 1945, he owned it, till when?
He owned it for quite a few years, then it changed hands a few times, and one time was a Kentucky Fried Chicken here.
Really?
Yeah.
I never knew that. It's
Yes.
before my time.
Yeah.
I've only been here since 74.
Then after that, there was a couple Greek boys that took over.
Yeah, Steve and Nick were their names, right?
Yes, yes.
They were here for a long time.
They were here for a very long time. They done it very well.
Yes.
So they left, they went to Toronto, they sold to somebody else. And that's when I come in the picture. The people that bought it, they didn't learn.
Didn't do it right.
And the most important thing I can tell you the story about this place is I came in Canada about 54 years ago, and year 62, 63, I used to work for a Greek guy in Toronto, in Midland. And they put 3 Greek boys at the back out of the car. They say, I'm going to take you to see a successful restaurant. It was right here, the Little Red Hen.
When you were 16 years old?
17 years old.
Oh my God, and that's just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that never left me,
Really?
always thinking. And here's many years later.
40 years later, you own the place.
Here I am.
Well, there's an interest. Take that one to the bank. There's an interesting story for you. 16 years old, he was here, and now you're a little bit more than 16.
Yes,
17.
yeah, up there now.
That's very interesting. And I mean, this place has been a mainstay in this town since then, right? I mean,
Yes.
everybody knows the. Well, it used to be called the Red Hen.
Little Red Hen.
The Little Red Hen.
I'll tell you the story about that. I'm in Toronto. I was in the investment business, developing
Yes.
houses and everything. I'm in a Greek town. A friend of mine owned the restaurant. He says, there's a place in Collingwood, he says, for sale that you can buy it.
Buy it cheap.
I say, what is it? And he told me the location. It used to be the Little Red Hen, but it was changed hand called the Oasis when I bought it.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, I forgot.
And I say, you're kidding me? And he told me the price. And I say, call.
Let's go look.
I'll go look at tomorrow. So I meet the owner. He came down to visit me. I say, give me to tomorrow afternoon. I'll go visit the place. And then I'll call you back. We'll make a deal. And here I am.
Here you are. And how long have you been here now? 17 years.
17 years.
God, that's long enough just in itself. And as you said, family-style restaurant, so breakfast, obviously.
Yes. And we'll talk
breakfast and lunch.
Breakfast, lunch is our business. Breakfast, all-day breakfast.
All-day breakfast,
People
all day.
People love the all-day breakfast. So we have the Shipyard, the Old Red Hen, and Egg Benedicts is our big ones.
And now you're open a couple of dinners also, too,
yes,
aren't you?
I open on a Friday night,
Friday night,
Saturday
and
night.
Saturday night.
And I catering to most senior people, seniors, and I give them a discount, and I'm very happy.
So you have a good, steady clientele.
Yes, yeah.
We were speaking earlier, you get a lot of people out from Blue Mountain
Yes,
come out here.
everywhere.
And you get a lot of repeat business, too, because, I mean, this is a nice restaurant, and it's the old story. If the food's good and there's lots of it and the price is right, they come back and they keep coming.
I would say, if I tell you 70, about 65% of my business is repeat business.
Is repeat business.
Same people, same thing.
You probably have people saying in here 5 days a week for
Yeah, that's right.
breakfast. Right?
Yep. Yes.
You can probably set your clock. Oh, it's 10 to 10. Here
Yeah.
comes Jim.
They'll be here.
Or there's probably people waiting here for you.
Yes.
And what are your hours? 7 a.m.
7 a.m.
7 a.m.
to 3:30 in the afternoon, Sunday to Thursday.
Sunday to Thursday.
And Fridays, 7 to 9.
To 9 p.m.
9 p.m.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So that's a lot of hours, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I enjoy
Well,
it.
we all know about hours in the restaurant
Yeah.
business. If you don't work 10 hours, you're not working.
And I was still doing the weekend when we do a lot of the homemade French fries.
Yes.
The homemade home fries.
Homemade
We
home
sell- we
fries.
sell a
Yeah.
lot
So
of
you
that.
do a lot of.
A lot of prep,
Yeah. So you don't open up boxes, so to speak.
No.
Right.
No.
Well, you open up the eggs. They come
Yeah,
in a box.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The eggs don't come by the chicken.
That's right.
That's very interesting. I see you have lots of memorabilia back here.
Yes.
Back in the shipyard days.
Yes. When
It's too bad we lost the shipyards, but oh well.
yes. A lot of memories.
Yes, and I'm sure you probably still get some of the old shipyard boys here, do you?
Big time.
Yeah,
Big
yeah,
time.
yeah.
The bell phone next door, I got 14 of them. The first Wednesday of the month, they come here for breakfast.
Really? Oh, that's good.
That's
And I think the Hydro Boys come in
Hydro
here too.
Boy, yeah. Hydro.
And I remember a few years ago, John Nichols, he did his last
Oh,
show
yes,
here,
sir. We did
didn't
the
he?
last, the 40th,
Yeah, I was here for that, actually.
The 40th anniversary. We had
40th.
a broadcasted right from here.
Yeah, right in the front there. I remember I was here. It's
Yeah.
interesting. Well, you don't get to see a restaurant that has that much longevity to it. I guess, in the restaurant business, we talk about location. So I guess you must have a good location here.
Location is important.
The three most important things: location, location, location.
But in our industry, the service is very, very
Exactly,
important.
and quality.
And
Service, quality,
Yes,
quantity,
right, that's
price.
right. People
Right.
that want the money's worth.
Yep.
And I'll go back when I took the restaurant, it was different decor. Then I find all these pictures you see on the walls and everything. I want to bring the history back. The shipyard,
Yes,
the little red hen, and the
Yes.
sports, so we have a picture.
I love the picture right behind you there of the
Yeah.
seven sisters.
Yeah.
That's it shows them as a young age.
Yeah.
And as they got older. I think you said there's one left.
We have one left.
One left.
90, 93, 94.
93 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
And does she live locally here?
No, they live in Toronto.
In Toronto. Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's been interesting talking to you, Jimmy. So let's go back into the kitchen and
Sure.
show me what you can cook up.
Okay.
And we'll be right back here on a Taste of Georgian Bay from the old Red Hen here in downtown Collingwood. Thank you.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
It was really fun working with them, especially when it comes to the studio tour, because it lets you meet the artists again and again. I hate to say nature inspires me because every artist has it, but it is the grasses, the flowers, the trees, mostly rocks as well. So I use grasses over and over again. Every once in a while, somebody wants to have something special. They bring me their own flowers. For me, the glaze has to be perfect, and I like I said, a lot of depth in it. And that's it. All done.
Okay, now we're going to start to prepare for nice clubhouse, famous clubhouses. Fresh
Clubhouse. Who invented that thing?
Fresh turkey. I invent that.
Yeah.
Yes, and this.
You're probably old enough to invent
And
it,
this
Jimmy.
is our homemade French fries.
Homemade fries. Those are the
We
best.
sell 1,000 pounds potatoes a week.
1,000 pounds a week.
Yes, sir.
Really?
Yes.
That's 20 bags of fries. 20 bags of potatoes.
20 bags, yes.
20 bags a
20
week.
bags of fries.
I thought I did a lot. I go through about 5.
This is our pickles.
Yeah, nice
To
dill.
prepare it.
It's like a pickle, it's a dilly.
That's right. That's the real stuff. This is our prep table here. And this is our fresh turkey. We sell
The real thing.
4 turkeys a week. All-
You cook them yourself, obviously?
Yeah, we'll cook it ourselves. All
Yeah.
fresh meat.
That's the real thing. That's real turkey breast, isn't
That's
it?
a really turkey.
That's no phony baloney.
Not turkey breast, the whole turkey. We'll cook the whole turkey.
What do you do with all the dark meat? You make
We do it
hot turkey sandwich?
hot turkey sandwich and pot pie. I sell a lot of pot pie.
Turkey pot pie.
pot pie.
Perfect.
Very, very popular.
Good. So you got the toast in, you got the bacon on the grill. I see the fries are
We'll
down.
be rocking in a minute.
We're rocking and rolling here. The clubhouse, the chef's demise.
That's our biggest seller.
I hate
in
them.
The clubhouse.
They are an absolutely delicious
A
sandwich.
lot of people that love it.
But they drive the chef crazy, I always find.
A lot of
that-
the chefs don't like it.
That third slice of toast, you know?
3 slice toast.
If you have a 4-holder, you get 2 orders. I see
you
you
go.
have 2 4-holders here.
Yeah.
You get 3
Here it
clubhouses.
is.
You're 1 short.
Here's your turkey.
Beautiful.
And we get a nice fresh lettuce.
Yeah. Bingo. Yeah.
Now we take the bacon.
Yeah, our clubhouse is basically like 2 sandwiches put together,
Yeah.
isn't it?
The bacon. There you go.
Lettuce. Perfect. Look at that, huh? It's a thing of beauty already. No lettuce on there, chef?
I got the lettuce
Oh,
on
lettuce
the
on the
turkey. I got
bottom.
on the turkey.
All right.
See,
Now here's the trick, the placement of these.
here's the trick.
12, 6.
The presentation is very important.
Yeah, if you don't get
When
that in
you
the right
serve it.
spot, 12, 6, 3, and 9, as I say.
And here is now, we're ready to cut.
This is when it falls apart. This is when the chef uses bad words.
And this is. Now,
That's it.
we do the presentation. This way, when the people look at it, they look at it and say, wow.
Oh, wow, 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 wow. That looks beautiful, Jim. It's a rather simple thing, but you know, so look at that. And if you notice how you stuck them together there, so they all, see, so it's all, it's
And
like
now
it's like the
we're going-
clubhouse train.
We're going to the French fries. We take the French fries out.
You can't beat a homemade fry, huh?
Here's your homemade fries. Also, because of fresh and everything, I always add up a little bit salt, just a touch.
Yeah.
And you stir it. Takes the
Perfect.
flavor. and
Oh,
you- and
they're
you
not
hear-
hot, are they?
No, we're used to the heat.
You got the chef hands, as I
Yeah,
say.
that's right.
There
And
you go.
And
Voila.
here's your plate.
And that's in real time. How long did that take? 4 minutes? 5
About
minutes?
4 minutes.
Perfect. Fresh turkey, bacon, basically it's a BLT.
Yeah.
And then
Then you put the turkey.
Perfect. Excellent.
And this
Sold.
goes into the train.
Okay, pick up.
Then we ring the bell. That's the old style bell.
Well, that's very good, Jim. Well, thank you very
And
much.
the other thing I want to show you, this is what I do. We do about, if I say 400 bacon and eggs on Saturday and Sundays.
400.
400 people. I'll go through about 400 people. Between omelets and eggs,
That's like a couple cases of eggs every day.
3 cases.
3 cases of eggs.
3 cases of eggs is,
Remind me not to work here.
and the heat's on.
The heat's on. Look at there. Yeah. Pan cooking. That's the best way to do it, isn't it?
A lot of people they don't do that. They do on the grill.
Yeah.
I do on a fry pan.
Yeah, I do too. You know, they're much nicer that way.
They
aren't
come out nicer.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, they say breakfast is an easy meal, but not necessarily.
No,
you know?
not necessarily. No.
The thing about breakfast is timing.
Yes.
You've got to have it all together.
Very important. Yes.
Yeah.
And a little bit butter underneath, so it swallows.
See how it's
Yes.
moving there nicely?
And you're gonna see the flip.
You're going to see the flip, the chef flip.
Yeah. And you don't break it. You got, it takes a lot of experience and a lot of talent.
Yeah, it takes a few eggs to get that one down, doesn't
yes,
it?
yes. We broke few before.
Oh yeah, I've flipped them and the whole eggs go into the fire there.
I'm gonna do it over easy with 90% is our over easy. As soon as they like that, you
Look at that. That's pretty easy, isn't it? Try that at home, boys and girls. Now, staff, how many staff do you have here, Jim?
I got 16 full-time.
16
full-time paratype. Full-time paratype.
That's
I got about 11 full and about 5.
11. That's a pretty
Here
big. Look
is-
at that. How beautiful is that?
And here's your presentation.
Voila! Look
On
at
your
that.
plate
Sold.
with a little bit orange,
Tomato. Yeah.
home fries,
Home fries and bacon.
and it was bacon, and it was center up.
Bacon, sausage, ham, whatever you like.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's good. There's a successful restaurant right there. Well, thanks very much, Jim. We'll
Thank you.
let's go out to the
Pleasure.
dining room
Yeah.
there and we'll enjoy the
That's right,
fruits
we
of
have
your
the clock.
labor, as I say.
Well,
I'm gonna have a fry right now. Oh my God. Delicious. Beautiful here. You got it all ready to go?
yes, we're all set.
1945.
1945, open at the same location, same stuff. Yeah.
70 years.
70 years old.
God,
Very popular.
that's even older than I am.
And I'm very proud to be here.
Yes, good for you, Jim, and you have a successful restaurant.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back on A Taste of Georgian Bay. Only on Rogers.
Rogers.
Only
okay.
on Rogers.
That's good.
As we have one more fry.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Micah Denbach. Join us on Rogers TV and on Facebook and on YouTube at Clearview Community Church for all of our content. Thank you, and I hope you guys have a great day.
Victory they needed and a victory they got.
Hey, did you know?
More than 4,500 Canadians are waiting for an organ transplant right now.
Right now. 4,500.
People are dying.
And you could save a life. 90% of Canadians say they're willing to donate their organs.
But only a few are registered.
So what are you waiting for? Get registered.
It's easy and it's free.
Leave a legacy. Be a hero.
Save a life.
Find out how to register today. Go to kidney.ca.
What kind of show do you want to see on Rogers TV? What interests you? Log on to rogerstv.com, fill out a show proposal, and tell us about your segment idea. We want to know what you want to see. Rogers TV, only on Rogers.
Okay, well, here we are back in the dining room with Chef Jim's creation here. I tell you, I'm going to love eating these because I hate making them. They're really not that difficult to make.
No, you just have to. A lot of people, the chefs, they don't like it.
Well, like I said, that third piece of toast drives you crazy.
Yeah.
And then once you cut it, it's finicky, and you go to pick one up, and it flips apart. And then, as I said, you use bad words. But I'm going to enjoy it. I love a clubhouse. Now, what else do you? This isn't the only thing you serve.
Clubhouse, we sell
a hot turkey.
hot turkey,
hot beef.
Hot Sam's is big too. Fish and chips.
Fish and chips is good, yeah.
The chicken fingers. Chicken
fingers,
Chicken fingers, very big.
I'm going to put a little bit of mayo
the
on mine.
kids and everything, they love it. Yeah, we sell a lot of that.
So you get a lot of families in here, too.
Yeah.
Now, in the summertime, I'm sure you get a lot of people?
Summer, winter, majority is family, yes.
Yeah.
A lot of the families that come here.
Now, in the wintertime, I'm sure you get skiers that
We get
come
the
in?
skiers, we get the snowboarders,
Yes.
like all the here.
You get everything. And in the summertime, you would get the...
Yeah. Oh yeah, you get the golfers before they go golfing.
Yeah.
They all meet here. They all have
a nice breakfast.
Breakfast, they'll go.
Now, you're located right on the main street,
Yes.
so any action that goes on here, you're right in it.
That's right. That's right.
Now, I'm sure Elvis is a busy time for you?
Yes, a lot of people. And a lot of people.
Elvis, there are those that aren't necessarily all about Elvis, but I think it's a great thing for the town.
Oh, yes. That brings a lot of money into the community.
Exactly.
And everybody's busy, you know.
So here's the part where I start talking with my mouth full. So just hang on a little bit there. Look at that. Good. So you work pretty much all the time?
No, I'm in and out. Like the weekends, yes.
Yeah.
Weekends I'm here. Saturday morning I open up, and the Sunday morning I open up. You know, I'm up 6:30 to get ready.
6:30.
Yeah.
No, you don't live in Collingwood, though.
No,
do you?
I live in Midland.
Live in Midland.
But I'm trying to sell Midland, and I like to move to Collingwood.
Yeah, why not?
I find Collingwood, anything you wanted, it's here. You want to go to a theater, you want to go to for dinner, you want to go to a show, you got everything here, which Midland we don't have. So
somebody was mentioning to me just recently that there's like 30 restaurants downtown here.
Oh yeah,
there's no shortage of them. You must be doing something right.
Well, I have to share that with you. We had a couple of restaurants I'm not going to mention open up a few months ago, and my staff they start worrying about it. Been in business for many years, and I always believe and say, don't worry about anybody else. I said, do your thing.
Concentrate on
what you're doing, and don't worry about nothing else. Business comes and goes. That's experience I have all my life.
My staff will sometimes say, well, so-and-so's not doing this, and so-and-so, and I say to them, well, if you're so concerned about what they're not doing, what are you doing?
That's right.
Why don't you just worry about what you're doing, and don't worry, I'll worry about what they're
That's
doing.
my philosophy.
Exactly.
I agree to that 100%, and I haven't changed. No, that's very important.
So you
look after your customers.
Exactly.
They'll come back. Yeah. And the referral business and my business is unbelievable, Bob. I can tell you. Well, this is what I succeed. I have a meeting with my staff, and I say, just do my way, and this is what we are. People coming in. Hospitality is very important.
Yes. Well, that's why people go out, you know.
And the other is consistency. Service, presentation, and quality. 3 things you can't go wrong.
Well, you know that when you're coming back and you ordered this, this is what it's going to be. It's not today you come in, it's got the phony turkey in it, and all of a sudden you ran out of fries, so you're using frozen ones. You say, well, wait a minute, what's going on here? So you come here after 70 years.
That's right. That's right.
No, I'm sure it hasn't. You know, that's what they were doing, bacon and eggs, clubhouses. I don't know. Was the clubhouse invented 70 years ago? I don't know that.
We don't know that.
I don't know where the clubhouse came from. You said you invented it, but I don't believe that.
Well, I found it from the old chefs.
Yeah.
Pick up.
It'd be interesting. There's a Google question for you there out in Rogersland. When was the clubhouse first invented? Maybe we'll get Twitter to blow up or something.
That'll be a good one.
Yeah. Well, this is very tasty. So your menu consists of basically breakfast and lunch. All day breakfast?
All day breakfast, which is big one. Like I said, you know, people come in the afternoon, 3:30 to 4 o'clock.
Breakfast.
You'll be surprised.
Yeah.
They want to, and the people talking out there, we can get breakfast in the old red hen. Any other people that shot in 1:30, 2 o'clock, whatever, they're gone. And people are still out there.
You say you're open Friday, Saturday nights.
Yeah.
People can have breakfast at 8 o'clock on Friday night?
Yes, absolutely. And we do have some. We do have some that will have breakfast.
I have the odd person in my, at the golf club there's a couple of guys that like to have, and I know people that have breakfast, that have bacon and eggs for dinner.
That's right.
Personally, it's not my favorite, but as you can see, food is my favorite. You want some, Jim?
Nothing wrong with that. No.
You made it. When you make it, you don't want to eat it.
Right.
So you're located right in the heart of downtown Collingwood.
Downtown. A lot of actions.
Always action.
Yeah.
So
the arena is a big business for me. When they have a function at the arena across the road from me.
Oh yeah.
Well, I get a lot of people.
So in the winter time, when there's a hockey game,
or a show, whatever they do, anything, we get a lot of response from there.
And I say maybe the Santa Claus parade. You would be busy.
Yes. Although occasions like that, yes.
Canada Day. It's a big day downtown.
Yeah. Yes. No. Okay.
That's very interesting. No. There were a lot of people in this world that would just die to have a restaurant like this.
I have to give credit to the town, the administrators. They're promoting. They're always doing something. That's what I find. I've been in different business in different towns, and I see Collingwood's always promoting. They're always doing something. Like
if you don't promote your town, nobody else is going to do it for you.
And I give me credit to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, there's lots of things happening. There's, Elvis is just one little thing that
That's
happens
right.
here.
That's right. That's what
we had the Special Olympics,
yes,
which was almost 20 years ago now.
Yes, right.
I was involved with that Old Town Ski Club.
Yeah.
We had some senior World Games here a few years ago.
That's
I
right.
can't remember.
That's right.
And there's always many different bike things going on here.
Yes.
And in the wintertime, Blue Mountain's always having something going on. So you get a lot of stuff even from out at the mountain. People come out here.
Yes. A lot of people, and they come to see the old town. The people come in, the stores and the history is here.
Yeah.
And the people coming down to see it.
Yeah, now I see lots of shipyard things here. I'm sure you have a lot of shipyard people still coming here.
Yes, I have a lot of the people in the families.
Yeah.
Like even the parents say they pass away. Oh, my dad worked here, they come in and look at the pictures on the walls and the ships and stuff like that, yeah.
Well, shipyards was here for 100 years.
Yes. Wow, it was a big thing in those days. That was industry.
Oh, yeah. Well, they said they were wondering what was going to happen to Collingwood when the shipyards closed, but I guess fortunately for Collingwood, the condo boom sort of fell right in. And a lot of the guys that worked in the shipyards ended up building a lot of the Rupert's Landing and Lighthouse Point and then out at the mountain. So I guess that, the real estate boom kind of saved Collingwood because luckily for Collingwood, we still have a very vibrant small town here. There's a lot of small towns in Ontario, just you drive down the main street of them and they're a little not so, I'm not going to name any.
And a lot of people, they're moving up here because they love the quietness. I have a lot of customers retiring.
A lot of Toronto.
A lot of Toronto, they're investing up here big time. They're retiring up here because they got everything here they want to go.
Well, they can sell their nice fancy joint in the city.
That's right.
Buy something here for half the money.
That's right.
And enjoy their retirement.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of those people have been coming up here for years.
Yes, they'll be coming up here.
I know lots of people that I've dealt with at the ski club and the golf clubs. They've been.
Yeah.
Well, I'm halfway through this clubhouse. Well, thanks very much, Jim. It's a pleasure. It's nice to see you.
Nice to know you.
Nice to see a successful restaurateur.
Thank you.
In a successful restaurant. 70 years.
And I'm not retiring.
And you're not retiring. Well, you're like me. When we get down over there to Pine Street is when we're going to retire.
That's right.
Resting quietly on Pine Street is Bigger Bob and Jimmy Meredith. Well, thank you very much for another eventful show here on A Taste of Georgian Bay. And we'll see you next time, only on Rogers.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
Do you have something to share? Let everyone know about your next meeting, your need for volunteers, or your fundraising event on the Rogers TV Community Billboard. Send us your words and we'll bring them to life on Rogers TV and rogerstv.com. When it's time to spread the word, go to rogerstv.com to add your announcement to the Community Billboard.
This is Rogers TV.
Hi, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Molly Herford. I'm the author of a lot of books on cycling, including the Shred Girls series. I'm a runner and a cyclist here in Collingwood, Ontario. And my husband Peter and I run The Consummate Athlete, which is where I write and talk about endurance sports, and he coaches endurance sports. So when I put this event together in November, the How to Be Outside speaker series, I didn't expect shoulder season to be quite this bad. I thought April, kind of a dark, grim month. It'll be great to have a chance to get together and really meet new people and everything. And obviously, things did not work out the way that I necessarily planned. But, you know, this is a little bit different, but we're still trying to make do with what we can. And for those of you who are counting days till the live event, luckily we have rescheduled for October 9th at the Gaiety Theatre in Collingwood. And, you know, it's going to be an amazing evening still. And tonight isn't just a pared down version of that initial thought on how to be outside. The three speakers who are with me tonight, Justin Jones, Tara Blaine Hunt, and Peter Glassford, all wanted to kind of change their topics from the original things that they had thought about to talk about what we're contending with today. So all four of us have taken kind of a different approach to this concept that now is the time for behavior change on both macro and micro levels. So I'm really excited for you to hear what they have to say. So right now, more than ever, it's super important to continue moving and exercising to the best of our abilities. I've written a few articles in the past month talking about how biologically exercise helps with everything from stress reduction to immune system boosting to making it a little bit easier to sleep at night. And as someone who did not take movement very seriously until much later in life, I understand the urge to go into hiding and stay under the covers instead of getting outside in nature. When I was a kid, I was not an athlete. I was the kid who pretended to feel faint when we had to run the mile in gym class. I once cried when my mom signed me up for t-ball and tried to drop me off at practice. Ditto soccer and softball and volleyball, like into my preteens. I was really nerdy. I was anti-athletic and proud of it. I was punk rock. You couldn't make me play a sport if you paid me. Luckily, eventually I found cycling and running in my 20s. And while it was not love at first 5K, the solo endurance endeavors kind of suited me, and it very quickly became a huge part of my life. I ended up in the cycling industry as a writer and the outdoor industry at large as someone who's just really passionate about trail running. And that's how I ended up here tonight, though I'm still kind of a huge bookworm. We can't be what we can't see. And for kids, this is so important. I didn't know that riding bikes or running on trails could be fun when I was little because no one showed me that. I thought the only way to be athletic was to participate in organized sports, team sports, and I hated that idea, which leads me to one of my favorite topics and the one that I'm thinking about a ton right now. How can we get more people, especially kids, outside, and not just the sporty ones who already want to do that? Statistics have shown that less than half of North Americans report spending any recreational time outside, which is bonkers. And that starts when we're kids. For girls, the numbers are even worse. By puberty, almost 80% of girls drop out of sport. And that means both school and the riding bikes around the neighborhood, playing with friends kind of stuff. This stuff is going to be so much more important in the next few months because researchers are actually saying that childhood obesity is going to be on the rise as a result of this lockdown. Kids are out of organized sport. They're not outside playing with their friends. They're not able to continue with regular routines. They're, at serious risk of having really high levels of inactivity. And for parents, you have a huge challenge now. You're homeschooling, you're trying to make sure kids are eating well, maybe avoiding some of the ultra-processed comfort foods mostly, and still getting in a ton of activity, and you're also working and working out for yourself. This is an impossible ask for you, but then again, parents are often tasked with the impossible, it seems like. So, how are we going to get kids moving and excited about being active when friends are out of the picture right now? We can't do this stuff, right? We can't go to the bike park with our friends. We can't go on bike rides with our crew. As a non-outdoorsy kid and a huge bookworm, I loved the Babysitter's Club books. This seems like a weird segue, but bear with me. Babysitting, inherently super boring, right? No one wants to babysit if you actually think about what it is that you're doing when you babysit. But I read the Babysitters Club books obsessively, and I started a Babysitters Club. So, as an adult, I came to sport. I was super annoyed at my parents for not getting me involved in sport much earlier. How could they have not let me try cycling or running or any of that stuff? Why didn't my mom leave me at T-ball? I confronted them on this. They laughed at me. I was very stubborn, apparently. And if I didn't want to do something, I was not going to do it. But still, there had to be a way to get me involved in sport. So then I remembered my love of the Babysitters Club and my obsession with reading it and subsequently babysitting. And I realized if I could write books that would convince girls to go outside and play on their bikes, would that have convinced me to go outside and play on my bike? Yeah, it probably would have. I mean, if I could babysit, I could definitely go out and ride a bike. So I started the Shred Girl series because there are a ton of girls out there who don't see themselves in sports. That was not just me. They weren't going to get on I wasn't getting on a bike just because my dad brought one home. They need to see themselves cycling. They need to see their friends. They need to see other girls that are out there on bikes, who are out there climbing mountains, who are out there surfing, who are out there doing all these cool activities. But most of them are really stubborn, and telling them just to go outside and ride isn't going to work. So that's why I started the Shred Girl series, which follows a fictional group of young girls who do, get outside and start a bike club together. Clubs and groups where girls can go once they take that step and get outside are going to be really important. And they're super critical to getting girls on bikes and getting girls stoked on bikes and keeping them on bikes. However, right now, we can't get outside in groups and clubs. So we need to think about how we can reach kids where they are right now. They're inside playing video games. Okay, can we get them playing Tony Hawk? Can we leave a skateboard in the basement or on the back porch? And I'm not the only late in life athlete that you know. So in addition to getting kids inspired to getting outside as much as possible, I want to urge you to invite other adults to get outside as well. There are still a whole lot of people like the younger version of me and there's those who understand that they need to move their bodies for health reasons, but they don't understand that it can be fun. Because they're the ones that force themselves to go to the gym for 30 minutes 3 times a week and haven't really figured out what exercising and enjoying exercising really means, because no one has taken them and shown them that it can be awesome. So this is your challenge. I want us to make sure that we're thinking about ways to ensure that our generation and younger generations have opportunities for outdoor adventure for years to come, that everyone can see themselves playing outside, that we have these open spaces where we can be outside, that people, and especially kids, have fun outside and never forget the simple pleasure of just feeling their feet in the grass, or the thrill of diving into our bay here in Collingwood, or the amazement of summiting a mountain for the first time. As we talked through our topics for this evening, our next speaker, Justin Jones, made a great point. We have a chance, and hopefully this is a once-in-a-lifetime chance, to decide who we want to be when this is over. Do we want to be Costco shoppers who are hoarding toilet paper, or people who support local farms and eat healthy whole foods that are grown here? Do we want to ride our bikes to school and work, or do we want to start driving everywhere again? Do we want to settle into a state of inactivity, or do we want to summit those mountains? And do we want to bring our friends and neighbors along for the ride, or are we going to regress to a state of fear and suspicion? So with that in mind, I want to introduce Justin, aka Mr. Bikes-A-Lot, who's going to be speaking about ways we can change the way that we look at bikes and alternative modes of transportation here in town. So I'm going to turn it over to Justin Jones.
Okay, good. Thank you so much, Tara, and thank you to everyone who's making the time today and is attending. It's really nice to know that we, even though we weren't able to do this the way that we wanted to, we're still making it work, right? So what I want to talk to you guys about today is just building on an idea that has kind of been percolating a little bit in the back of my mind and in the minds of some of the folks that I work with, about how Collingwood could become Biketown, Ontario, and what that could mean for our community. And when I say become Biketown, Ontario, what I mean is that I think that Collingwood has an opportunity to become the best place in Ontario, if not the best place in Canada, to ride a bike. And I do think that we have that opportunity if we're willing to reach up and seize it. And so I want to talk a little bit about what that would mean for our community and how we can get there. So before I get started with that, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. And there's a reason behind this. It's not just because I'm a raging narcissist. There is a moral to this story, I promise. So my story doesn't really start in a place that you would expect someone who loves bikes to start. My story starts in Carstairs, Alberta. So this is a small town about 40 minutes north of Calgary. And, you know, if you're trying to think of a place that's further away from the great cycling cultures of the world, it would be pretty hard to find somewhere less bike friendly than Carstairs. I mean, the word car is right there in the name. It really is primary in the name of the town and also in the attitude of the community. I distinctly remember when I turned 16, I did the same thing that everyone in my class did at age 16, which was went out, did your driver's test, got your driver's license, and then went out and bought the most expensive car you could afford. So for me, that was everything. We took that car absolutely everywhere. We used it for every single trip that we made, whether it was to the, whether it was for me getting to school or going to the grocery store, or every day at lunch, me and 4 of my friends would pile in the Fifth Ave and we would drive down to the local convenience store. So this is the Max in Carstairs. And if you look off in the distance, that's actually my school. I don't know if you can see my pointer, but the building just at the back there, that's the school. And that is a grand total distance of 306 meters. Thank you, Google Maps, for telling me just how lazy I was in my high school days. And that really does kind of give you an idea of how I grew up. And so it wasn't until I ended up moving to Ontario that I really discovered my love of cycling. And so I was living in downtown Toronto, and I saw a lot of people riding around on bikes. And so I decided at age 23, having not been on a bike since I was in grade school, to give cycling a try again. And so I went out and I bought myself another vehicle that was older than I am. This is my second bike now. This is my current ride. But my old bike was a 1982 Peugeot. So I guess I just like buying vehicles that are as older than I am. But that really became the keys to the city for me. It really opened up different neighborhoods and different areas of Toronto that were outside of that kind of walk bubble, but that were still a quick and easy bike ride available. And the thing that I found is that it was far and away the fastest way to move through a congested city. It didn't matter if my friends were taking transit, if they were taking a cab, if they were on foot. Me on my bike meant that I was getting there before they did. So I really developed this deep love of my bike, but it was really a monogamous relationship. It was just me and my bike kind of moving through the city. And it wasn't until I ended up moving to Hamilton that I really discovered the value of how bikes can build community. So when I moved to Hamilton, I got involved in a project called Yes We Canon. And Yes We Canon was an advocacy campaign designed to encourage the city to two-way parking on a big one-way street in Hamilton. So Cannon Street's 4 lanes wide, a one-way street that doesn't carry a whole lot of traffic, but the traffic it carries moves very fast. And so it was almost like a moat in the community. It was really driving the community apart and provided a lot of separation. And we looked at a vision for that street that would bring people together. And so we started talking to people about it, and the response was just overwhelming. Everywhere we went, we had people wanting to sign the petition. We ended up gathering over 3,000 signatures. We sent over 500 individual letters to council, people telling councillors what that they wanted to see this project move ahead. And we launched this project in 2013 with the goal of having it on the ground by 2015. And I'm really pleased to say that by September of 2014, those bike lanes were a reality, and they've just been made a permanent piece of infrastructure in Hamilton. So it's a really, it was really instructive to me to show the value of community that gathers around active transportation and around cycling. And it showed me the value of our streets and the public spaces that those are and how important it is. And now, you know, I've kind of come full circle. I've kind of moved back to a little bit more of a individual approach where, you know, the most important thing to me now is getting my kiddos around safely. And if you live in Collingwood, you've probably seen me riding around. I like to say that I've probably got one of the most recognizable vehicles in town. This is how I choose to get around most days. So the reason I tell my story is because I just think that it's illustrative of the fact that a lot of different types of people can come to active transportation for a lot of different reasons. You know, I think if you would have told 18-year-old Justin Jones living in Carstairs, Alberta, driving his 1984 Chrysler Fifth Avenue, that he was going to be living in Collingwood, riding around in a Dutch cargo bike with his two kids, he probably would have looked at you like you grew a second head. But, you know, that's the reality I find myself in. So when I talk about all of this stuff, you know, I want to just take a second and just kind of highlight the fact that I am really, really fortunate to be able to make my passion my profession. I've been fortunate enough to work for the Share the Road Cycling Coalition for 7 years here in Ontario. We're a nonprofit that's based right here in Ontario, and our goal is to build an Ontario that is the most bike-friendly jurisdiction in North America. And so as a result, I have been able to ride my bike in a lot of different municipalities. I've ridden my bike in almost 100 of the 444 municipalities in Ontario. So I've ridden a lot of different places. And when I rode my bike for the first time in Collingwood, I really knew that I had found my home. Collingwood felt like home to me because I haven't found another community that I feel like riding your bike in is as easy, as comfortable, as convenient as it is in Collingwood. We are incredibly fortunate to have a network of trails that is second to none in the province. In terms of our kilometers of trails to our kilometers of roads, we are number one in the province. We have more trails per square kilometer than any other community in Ontario. And I think that it's just one of the gems of our town. It's one of the things that we can be most proud of. You can get basically from anywhere to anywhere in this town on either a nice quiet residential street or a trail. And I think that is just such an asset that we can celebrate. But, you know, as fantastic as it is, it can always be better. And so I wanted to just kind of talk a little bit about where we can potentially go here in Collingwood. You know, the great thing about Collingwood is it doesn't matter if you are coming for road biking, for mountain biking, for single track, you know, we've got the BMX park, or if you're going out like I am with my kids and looking for nice, calm, quiet trails and experiences that take us away from roads and cars. We've really got it all here in Collingwood. The access is absolutely incredible. So when I say that we can be Bike Town Ontario and we can be the best place in Ontario to ride a bike, I mean we can be the best place in Ontario to ride any kind of bike for any reason. And I think that that's a real distinction and a real feather in our cap that we can lay claim to here in Collingwood. One of the things about the town of Collingwood is absolutely incredible is how compact it is. Our urban form is really an asset to our community. This shows what the town of Collingwood looks like with a 3-kilometer radius. So that's about the amount of distance that I would cover on my cargo bike with my 2 kids in the front in about 12 minutes. So it's pretty hard to find a trip in Collingwood that you can't make on your bike in 20 minutes or less. It is a really compact and easy to get around town. And it's just one of those things where I think that when it's that easy and that accessible, and we all saw what the difference in our mood was versus right now, to the times when we're outside moving around. I just think that it's so important for people to use transportation and getting around the community as an opportunity to improve their mental health as well. So when we survey Ontarians, we find that 32% of Ontarians would like to cycle to or from work more often. And so that is kind of the potential for a lot of our communities, seeing about 30% of people who would like to ride their bike to and from work. But when we talk about, our cycling trips, our trip to work is really only one of about every 5 trips that we make. So the opportunities to change how we move around in terms of everyday trips to the grocery store, to our friend's house, to the cafes, to the restaurants, to the churches, to all the places that we're going to want to go when this is all over, those are really the opportunities to create a stronger culture of cycling in town. I always say that Monday morning cycling will do more for your community than Sunday morning cycling ever could, especially in terms of lifelong physical activity, because the people that are out there on their bikes on Monday morning, taking their kids to school or riding to work or going to the grocery store, those are the folks that are setting a positive example in terms of lifelong physical activity for their kids. Because when we talk about improving access to physical activity, getting involved in organized sports is obviously something that we want to encourage and we want to do. But the best thing that we can do for people's overall health is improve their access to routine, everyday physical activity. That means walking, biking, wheeling, using skateboards, rollerblades, whatever it is that you need to do to move around, but do it actively. Work those active routines into the everyday things that you're doing, and that's when you start to realize the significant community benefits that active transportation and cycling can bring. So let's learn from some of our peers, like Boulder, Colorado, one of the most bike-friendly communities in the United States. And they have some really incredible programs that run in Boulder, like their RAT Rides, which is it stands for Ride Around Town. So it's a short kind of 3 to 5 mile route that essentially loops through the community and then ends up at a local destination. So whether it's a brewery or a restaurant or a park where there's an ice cream truck, it gives people that opportunity to come out and be social with their neighbors and go for that ride. They also have a really great program that encourages kids to ride and provides bikes to low-income kids. So if a kid can't afford a bike in Boulder, there's always an opportunity for them to get access to a high-quality, well-maintained bike that they're going to be able to use to go out and ride with their friends and ride with the other people around them. They have a small bike share system, which is essentially just kind of a little like the credit card, or if you're a member with your ID card. And those are really great ways to expand access to cycling for people who aren't sure if they're ready to commit to, buying their own bike and starting to ride around. And then they have this fantastic program called Upshift, and it's a mobile bike repair clinic that goes around to different farmers markets and events, particularly in some of the lower income neighborhoods within Boulder. And they do free bike repair, and they also teach people how to do some of the basics of bike repair. So maintaining your bike a little bit, fixing a flat, putting the chain back on, making sure that you have your bike adjusted properly, all those little things that can make the difference between a bike sitting in the back of a garage or being out on the road. And then, so I want to talk about something that I think is a little bit timely and a little bit it's within our realm of possibility here in Collingwood. And it's a movement that's called Slow Streets. And maybe you've heard of it. It's been kind of going around in a lot of places in the United States and increasingly here in Ontario as well. Brampton, Mississauga, Ottawa has instituted some of it because we're seeing such diminished traffic volumes on our streets because so few cars are not traveling. A lot of the cars that are traveling are going very fast. They're looking at those streets as wide open racetracks. And more than that, what you're seeing is people that are having a hard time physical distancing because sidewalks aren't 6 feet wide. Even today, I was out on our trails, and most of our trails are held to a 9-foot standard. Even on our trails today, I found it challenging on my bike to maintain adequate physical distancing in certain spots because they were just starting to get busy. People are meant to go outside, and it doesn't matter if we're in the middle of a pandemic, especially when we're in the middle of a pandemic and we can't go to our parks, we can't go to our playgrounds, we can't socialize with our friends. We need something to do, and that is leading a lot of people to get out and go for a walk or go for a bike ride. And so if we don't have the space to do that safely, we're going to find ourselves in a situation where we're going to be left with a choice between not going out or, potentially having to close off some of those fantastic assets. And that's something I would hate to see. So what we've seen in a lot of different communities is they're closing off streets to through traffic. So they're still maintaining access for emergency vehicles and for the people who live there. But they're saying this is a street that's now designated for people to walk and bike. So this is a picture from Oakland, California, where they've done it really simply, just a pylon and a road sign, and that's all you need to provide that space for people to walk and bike safely during these tricky times. But it's not just for pandemics. This kind of infrastructure change of reclaiming some of this valuable public space is really starting to move all across North America in a permanent way, and those programs are called neighborhood greenways, and this is actually built into the cycling plan here in Collingwood for streets like Maple and like Collins, where we'd be looking at something called a bicycle priority street that would provide through traffic for people walking and cycling, but for people who are driving, those streets are not anymore accessible as a through street. So every time you get to an intersection, you're forced to turn to go over to, say, here, Ontario, so that you can use that street to head straight north-south through town. But a street like Maple Street would no longer be a shortcut for people to use to cut through town. It would be a place where kids could, learn to ride their bikes in the street, where street hockey would be easy to play because you wouldn't be stopping for a car every 2 minutes. A place where neighbors would feel comfortable letting their kids play in their front yard, not just in their back. And so those are the kinds of things that I think we should be thinking about as we move through this pandemic and into the time afterward, where we need to be considering how our public space is being utilized. And that, I think, is the thing that if we could take anything away from this, it's the realization that the largest public asset that any community has is our streets. That's the largest single outlay of public space. And when we dedicate them only to one use, I think we rob people of the opportunity to use those streets as, an extension of the front yard, a place that can connect people rather than drive them apart. When we're talking about creating a great bike-friendly city, we need to make sure that we're thinking for all seasons. And especially here in Collingwood, we know that we have challenging winters. We get lots of snow, we get thaws, we get ice. But there are cities around the world that have similar or worse winters than we do, and they manage to hang on to a lot of people cycling every single year because they maintain a lot of their pathways and their network to a standard that people can ride all year round. I always tell people no one would buy a Toyota Corolla if we didn't plow our roads for the winter, right? It'd be kind of like, oh, snow's flying, put the Corolla away, get the Hummer out. If you aren't maintaining the infrastructure for the types of vehicles that you want to see, don't be surprised when those vehicles aren't usable. So we need to think about how we can make our winter network not quite as robust as our summer network. We don't need to have every single trail and every single road maintained, but we need some priority corridors that can be connected and designated as winter routes. The number one thing that we need, though, here in Collingwood is not a bunch of new infrastructure. It's not new trails. It's not new bike lanes. It's none of that. And the number one thing that we need is human resources. We need people that are going to be willing to bring all of the fantastic groups that are working on active transportation in Collingwood together. You know, we've got groups like the Collingwood Cycling Club, like Cork, like the Trails Committee, like our service clubs, like our active and safe routes to school groups. And there's all these amazing people doing all this amazing work, but too often they're not communicating with one another. They're not talking, they're not identifying common goals and identifying places where they can be sharing resources and building a stronger culture of cycling here in Collingwood. And so we were going to launch a Bike Mayor program at the Outdoor Edit Speaker Series, where we're going to look at nominations and getting someone who can, on a volunteer level, serve as the ambassador for cycling in Collingwood, someone who can bring all those different communities together. And so we are still going to try and do this. It's not something that we're going to shelve, but I just encourage you to think about someone in your life who is incredibly passionate about riding a bike in Collingwood and who would be a great nominee for Bike Mayor, because we would love to see one come forward. And I'm going to close with this, just that people are creatures of habit. We need to give people the opportunity to create new habits. And we're all going through a bit of an adjustment period right now. You know, a lot of the old habits and ideas that we had are obviously being thrown for a bit of a loop. And so we have an opportunity, a unique opportunity, to take a minute and consider what is really working in our lives, what's providing us happiness, what's providing us joy, and how can we craft a life coming out of this and a community coming out of this that fits how we want it to look rather than how it has looked. I think that that's a really tremendous opportunity, and I think it would be a shame if we didn't follow it. I always close my presentation about Collingwood with this picture. This is my friends Adam and Laura. These are two friends that I made literally from the saddle of a bike. And I can count the number of friends that I've made from behind a windshield.